Nice, nice. Now, a question for you. When you approach songs, do you try to stay, as they would say, true to the song, or do you try to add a little bit of yourself into it?
Um, some certain times it depends on the feeling, which mode am I in. It depends on where I'm at. Depends on which song I'm playing, and who's in the audience. Like I said before, certain times you can play, for a certain audience, and certain type of songs kind of tell you where to go. Good friend of mine said, the music will write itself, or the music, it would play itself. So you really shouldn't be forcing, what's not there. Um, and again, depending on the audience, is kind of where I go, and depending on my mood and what I feel like playing at whatever point in time. So, if I'm in a certain place, if I'm in church, and if we're in worship, if we're in like high worship and everybody's, then you kind of know to really keep it true to the music. You want to play, less. You don't really want to give your point of view of a song like above all when everybody's in high worship and singing together, because that can really kind of throw, throw the spirit off and throw, the whole thing. So it
So
depends on
you
the
tend
setting.
to, yeah, you tend to try to, yeah, at that point, stay kind of true.
Mhm.
Now, in that song, did you put any of your just little slight
Yeah,
signatures?
and the second chorus, after I, stated the melody, from a musician standpoint, you always want to, state the melody of whatever
It's
song you're
very
playing,
important.
so the people can know what you're playing. After you state the melody, you can kind of, go somewhere, where people know it's you. And I think in the second chorus, I think I played a transition, that was something I felt.
Now, what was that you had did in
Um,
the chorus?
in
Because
the
I remember
chorus,
you were playing early, and you're like, "Oh wow, why I put that in
mm,
there?" It's like
mm,
something that you kind of.
certain keys, certain keys I just fill out differently, and
Hmm.
I don't really have a program to excuse me, sorry, I don't really have a program to each key the same way. So I approach A, I play that song in A. I approach A major different than I would D major. And I approach D major different than I would G major. So in A, before I was just saying, I was like, well, it's kind of funny that I played
Yeah,
one of those type of moves.
yeah, yeah.
And that was something like so. Stay with you know, and that's kind of it's almost like an Oregon thing a little bit.
It's like a walk
It's
down.
like a walk down from F. So the regular way would be, and instead of playing that here or you go and walking down. Right hand's kind of staying the same, and the bass notes are
Hmm.
changing. So same chord in right hand,
Hmm.
left hand changing. Now it changes here to a C sharp type of thing over F. And a song like this, the changes are so sweet where you can play a lot of sweet stuff and still be inside. Like if I just really just wanted to play, if I'm just really just playing,
Yeah.
something I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, you can pull so much stuff.
Yeah.
It's just such a big, majestic type of a
Yeah, right. And
song. Yeah,
the process to reharming, I think a lot of cats get twisted with thinking that when you're reharming that you have to
Take it so
play a
far
lot
out.
of chords. You really want to again stay inside the music, stay true to music, and reharming something that's actually in the harmony of the song. Any one note can really, give you a million chords. I can play at least 10 different chords over. Uh, I can play a lot of stuff, but inside that song, it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. Yeah.
So you're reharming the song structure. So if the harmonies, if you have singers there and they're going, cruise,
Hmm.
to reharm, is to say I'm gonna take that structure that they're singing to, and I might change it. So if I was just playing something else, I may not stay on the one. I might go to the six. You know what I'm saying? That's like really what that means. If you're playing by yourself, you could play a lot of stuff. You could be like, cruise, which kind of don't go because you just be like, man, that's really
Just
so far from the
yeah,
song.
pulling the
So I
song.
really want to just stick to, you know. Kind of got out there, trying to stay inside as much as possible. So
So one of your type of approaches as far as reharmonization, you try not to take it to you try to stay within the song. Do you have like certain rules that you follow or certain things when you're approaching a song like the not do's, the do not like I will not go this far or I won't do this or
it all, and when I play, generally, it's so much that what I do that comes off of inspiration and what I'm playing, maybe even the instrument or whatever, that kind of calls for me to do certain things. I don't really have a do not rule because it depends on what it is. I guess a do not rule would be, I guess, in a song like this, to be as far as chords going, if you're just like against the melody, if you're playing the same song, crucified, da, 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 if you're playing that and you're basically on some, uh, like a crucified, lay me on a stone. That's a do not rule. You
yeah,
just
just
don't want to
don't
force chords that's not there.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that would be one of the do nots. Do not force chords that's not there.
It's not
You
there.
can make up a lot of pretty chords that's already there, like a lay me on the floor. That's a far one.
Uh-huh.
And that's still far.
Even though it still has a pretty
It
texture
has a
to
pretty
it,
texture,
it's still
So
out there a
if you
little.
wanted to go, if you just being, super musical, you could play some pretty stuff like that. That's accepted. You know what I'm saying? If it's just you and one singer, just singing a melody on that type of vibe. But when you add, a three-part harmony, all of those extra chords get cut out. So your options limit itself. You can't really
Okay, so
go.
you're a slave to the harmony, especially if you have
Yeah,
three-part harmony
three-part harmony.
singing
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
You have to kind of keep it within a certain point.
Because if you don't do that, it's not reharming. It's not reharm. You can't reharm without a melody, and or somebody singing something where you can go. Because once you start doing it, you're playing your own song. You're playing your own song, and that's one of the keys. I guess that's the do not rule. You don't want to be playing your own song, because if the melody is here again, if the melody is crucified, da, 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 and you're going like a crucified, lady on the door, sing, da, da. Yeah, I'm really playing giant steps, but a whack version. I don't know. I mean, you just
Yeah,
play your
yeah,
own
yeah,
song,
yeah,
and it's
yeah, yeah.
just
You
not
just
not
totally,
cool. That's not
totally out
reharming.
there.
That's not reharming. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess in a crazy kind of way, reharming once you have that harmony, you may change substitute bass notes, like
Bass
instead of
notes.
playing the root, play the
Mhm.
sixth
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
something, but you're not gonna mess with
That's
that
how.
harmonic structure
That's
up
how I
top
would.
too
Yeah. That's
much.
how I would define the reharm. And even if you go into the right hand, which would be, you can add notes. Because that's the song. You can add notes. It can be, you know. And then if you're doing your own thing, if you're not in a church setting, I mean, when I say a church setting, when you're gonna have the crowd of people singing, you know, the top note is what people gravitate to, because that's what we're going to sing. Crucify, da 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 da, live to die, rejected all alone, da da da. You know what I'm saying? So in another sense of reharming, you would have to keep the melody there. So if I wanted to reharm just off the melody and play something sweet, so we, you know what I'm saying? Because the melody is still there. See, a lot of people think because the melody is there that you can play a lot, but as long as inside the song, it's accepted. You won't, like I said again, you won't just be playing your own chords. It's inside the song. So, because the melody is there, all chords you can use.
All right. Another thing, like you get some musicians, they tend to look at voicing sort of as two things, either pretty or ugly. Some people, they only like to play pretty stuff. Some people like to play, like, I guess, like you would say, dissonant stuff like chick and kind of off stuff. What's your thing? Do you like both? More towards one, more towards the other?
Um, I like a mixture, of, if you just want to narrow it down to the two, I like a good mixture of two. There's certain stuff, that I wouldn't play, again, depending on the song or depending on the placement. Because sometimes you could play a lot of killing chords, but they're, really not killing. You're not killing if you're not in a song. We play music, we play songs. Very, very rarely do you hear, and I know you probably deal with that later, the talk type music where it's just kind of just you, but we play music to play songs. So if it's not in the song, I kind of want to play it. But if it's in the placement, for instance, like a rose, you know,
Dissonant stuff.
right there.
Yeah.
That's accepted. It's in the song. I do. I don't know if anybody else. I'll take another one. No.
Yeah. It still has a
Yeah.
majestic sort of
Yeah.
vibe to it,
So I
even
like
though
a
it's a
good
little
mixture.
dissonant. Yeah.
I like a good mixture of the both, of the two.